All right, welcome back to the DanJJing Star League Season 3, game number 3. This is the round of 8, and you're watching Mong versus Last. I am exhausted. Even though this has been in 3 separate videos, this is actually quite exhausting because I've been casting them back-to-back, and my God, a 40-minute TVT, we knew it was going to happen, and it did. Okay, so let's announce these players real quick before we get back into it. We're on Fantasy 2, and the spawn positions, by the way, because of Fantasy 2, makes it kind of feel like Python. Remember back in the day where there were those close by air distance, long by ground bases. Fantasy 2 kind of adds its own quirkiness. So let's establish where the people are. Flash Friend is actually Mong, and he is trying to harness the power of Flash. Did not in that last game, so the series is tied 1-1. He is spawned as the red player down at the bottom left. And then we have the, I'm guessing, blue player who's spawned up towards the upper portion on the left side of the map. And that is going to be Last, playing as Barcode. So Flash Friend versus Barcode. Who's going to win this next game? I say let's get back to Polaris, where we had the Barracks versus Barracks rush. Oh, quite entertaining, wasn't it? What I am going to do is sit back and drink my coffee a little bit more, because it is absolutely necessary that I drink this coffee if I want to be able to get through an entire TVT series. My God, who has time for this? I genuinely don't hate TVT. And I like watching TVT, but I hate casting TVT because of how long it takes. And if I am going to watch a, 2.5 hour best of 5, I would prefer it to be by another matchup. Because then wow, things must have really escalated and gotten crazy for games to be that long. Of course, there's the famous Stork versus Rock? No, I don't think it was Rock. Whatever, no, it would have had to be against a Terran player. What's the long Stork game? How am I so brain dead? No, it was a Stork versus Zerg player, wasn't it? I can't remember. There's that hour-long game. It was an epic PVZ, and it had every unit in the game possible. I believe, except for Scouts, because... Really? Scouts just never make it into the game? That's just the way it happens? Alright. It may have... No, it wasn't GG play, was it? I'm going to have to remember this later. This is what happens when you go a year without casting. Alright, so we've got an SCV that's on the loose. Going to try and scout out his opponent. Will each other find each other? They will not. They are both scouting in the wrong directions, which is quite funny. But the factories are going to be done soon. One player, Last, has decided to go for an expansion first, but we're going to see from Mong, he's going for fast vultures. He's going to try and go for that factory tech and see what he can do. So in the last game, I actually mocked Last because he went for that bunker in the early game. And it was because he kind of sensed that there may be something like a fast damaging unit like rushed vultures coming out. But on the contrary, we've got a factory coming out. I wonder if a bunker is going to be built this time from Last. Again, since he doesn't have the vision of his opponent, he did go for the faster expansion. And yes, he is going to go for that bunker. So the bunker can be important here, because you may need to just retreat an injured Marine back into the bunker as it deals with the two-port Wraith that's going to be coming out. But boy, do I love two-port Wraith, because it means it could potentially just be a quick TVT. Guys, you gotta have sympathy for the casters. Always have sympathy for the casters. So, we're seeing that only one add-on needs to be completed to be able to get those Wraith upgrades. So the Vulture's out. That's one big thing too. The SCV is not going to get that scouting knowledge. But because it's been blocked, I wonder if Last is going to have that super game sense right now and start building up to defend against air. He's got the machine shop. Is he going to build an armory and get towards Goliaths? The cloak upgrade is on its way. The mad scientist sitting inside that add-on lab. trying to figure out, why do the lights have to blink inside the lab? That's just too funny to me. Whenever it's working, it just means they're all massively welding stuff at a very consistent interval as they build the technology. All right. So we need to see how much damage these vultures can do. Are there going to be a scout out at the front to try and determine the layout of the base for last? He is going to see that there's a bunker at the front. It's nice. His Marines are going to be warding off that barracks. He's got to be careful. The Marines warding off that barracks may be too far away from the bunker by the time that the Wraiths do come over. There hasn't been a scan. There hasn't been a scout. But we know that last has to be concerned with what's going to be coming out here. Oh, and he's just going to go for it. Remember, I said that those Marines were not going to be inside their bunker, and that's going to be bad. He did finish. He did finish the academy, which means that scans can be on their way soon. That Goliath is going to have to feel useless until the Concept Station can finish up. If he had like 2 more Wraiths, it may be worthwhile to just attack that Concept Station and kill it off. But right now, just focusing on killing off as many SCVs as possible, a good amount of damage was done here. But the Concept Station is about to finish. And he doesn't want that 50 energy to be the end of his game. So he's going to move off away from the Goliath into the natural base. Mong applying pressure here, coming out with this cheeky 2-port base Wraith build. And 2 Goliaths here at this natural base, trying to keep the Wraiths at bay. There are 2 Concept Stations, which means a good amount of energy is being built up for these scans. When is it going to go down? Now it finally goes down. He should be able to get some good damage here on the Wraiths, but they scoot away just in time. Some real nice micro. A lot of SCVs being taken out. The supply difference, though, it is a 46 to 52. Remember, now here's the huge thing. The command center only just now coming down for Mong. He did not win this game with those Wraiths, and the SCV advantage has got to be actually pretty big for Last at this point, because he's had 2 command center production this entire game. I don't think that he killed off enough. He's behind a refinery, hasn't been getting that additional gas either. Somehow Mong is going to have to utilize the fact that he got 2 starports if he wants to try and get an advantage in this game. He's got 2 starports, but what can he do with them? I mean, absolutely nothing. I think that he should like 2 base, a 2 base speed upgrade to battle cruisers, and then just start getting battle cruisers. Yeah, that should be the only thing that he goes for at this point. Oh, but this is always the amusing thing. So if your opponent gets their command center faster, does not lose to 2-port Wraith, they can actually counter by building starports themselves, and then their Wraiths end up being larger in numbers because the gas advantage is there, and they can end up winning instead. Meanwhile, the tanks on the outside are going to hold off in a pretty good position here. We are seeing that the add-on is being built up. So, potentially Cloaked Wraiths also. I wonder if Mong is going to end up seeing it. He's going to get warded away. Goliath chasing down at the south side of the main base of Last. Mong looking to expand, actually, and take another command center on the right side of the map. Or Last is. Mong's so distracted right now, just trying to do what he can with his Wraiths, that he's not going to see the SCV of Last. Oh, a turret there too. So the turret's there to help defend against these Wraiths as they do pop out. Not going to have like that Scourge Corsair situation that can sometimes happen. Can you believe the technology that we're seeing in this game at this point? 9 minutes into the game, and we've already escalated to Wraith battles, Cloaked Wraith battles. Very, very exciting in the early stages of a TVT. If we're going by last game, and we split game number 2 up into quarters. It was a 40-minute game, so each quarter is about 10 minutes. So based on that standard for TVTs, we are almost through the first quarter of this TVT. That's a good way of putting it, huh? Quarter 1 done in 30 seconds. Oh, a Valkyrie being built up. Valkyrie, what can it do? Sprite limits no longer something that is stopping a Valkyrie from producing the maximum amount of missiles possible to attack his opponent. An expansion onto the high ground, an island expansion here that's going to be picked up for Mong down at that 6 o'clock base. It will set himself up for a very, 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 very long TVT. Can't expect anything shorter. Fantasy can be such a weird map, and a TVT can be even weirder. I'm totally for mass dropship play on this because of the weird terrain. You can't necessarily be mobile on the ground. But that is why we're actually seeing these starports also, because both players are just saying, well, let's just go with rates, not even bother with this terrain because it can be so dumb for Terran units and so difficult to play mech effectively. There's not like a high defensive ground posture. There's not a bridge that a Terran player can take. So once you get your first 2 bases, especially with these where these players are established, the only place that you can effectively put your mech units are back at your natural choke point. Or kind of out in this open area. So one person will control this open area, but it doesn't really defend much. It's just a quality of life positioning for last to have his tanks there, but it's not doing a huge amount. He could defend back closer to his base and still have defensive units over towards the right side too. Or he could have, like Mong, taken the island instead of that third base that last has taken. I think the one advantage here is by not taking that island is that he will have access to the resources of that island later on in the game, which would be a really nice asset to have. Kind of tough to defend again across the map, as we saw in the last game. But his defense was perfect. Maybe he can defend equally as well. Alright, so that's a lot of raids trying to sneak around. Oh, was that a dropship? Oh, I'm sorry. It looked like something had sneaked through into the base, but that's his own dropship. Okay. Okay, on the right side, you can see a lot of units are moving in to try and engage. A turret there, a well-placed turret, which is just a good scouting turret to see what's going. Can these tanks actually do some defensive damage here? He did lose 2 tanks. He wants to probably try and keep them alive. Is there a dropship nearby to pick up those tanks before they get taken out? This is a tough game for Mong. He wanted to do way more damage than he ended up doing in the beginning. I mean, I think he killed a decent amount of SCVs off, but it wasn't as critical as he wanted it to be. Last had pretty solid defense, and he got his comsats up pretty quickly too. Had he not sensed those glides, this would be or rates, it would have been a completely different game. Well, this is just a swarm of blue that is continuing to choke in and cramp up the style of Mong. Last is in a really, really good spot. This is kind of the reverse of last game. And I like this position for last. I unlike where Mong was in game number 2, where he had the offensive footing, I felt like there was never an opportunity where he was putting himself forward in a position to win the game, because last defended really efficiently. On the other hand, I think that last has got him. I think he's gotten him in a checkmate hold, and it's going to be difficult to push out because he doesn't have a ramp. He can't really push out on the ground, and he continually has to be able to have air to defend the third base at the 6 o'clock position. No base quite yet at that mineral only. Not a big deal, but because last has, let's say, 75% of the map, he is going to continue to take the right side bases, so he does have the top right. And in fact, it would be amazing if he sent a SCV down to build a command center at the bottom right too. A lot of factories, but these factories for Mong are not going to be that efficient. I think that he really has to go for continued starport tech if possible. So many Valkyries have been added into this Wraith mix. And Valkyries, remember, again, are going to fire at a more consistent rate because we are playing on SCR. The sprite bug has been fixed. I think that's great. Unfortunately, getting stuck on the map bug is always going to exist, and that's always going to be a reason why Bisu loses his games as a Protoss player, or any Protoss player. Got to stay away from that Fighting Spirit map, which has that nasty ramp that you can get caught on. So we're still at a stalemate, and my finger is just begging me to hit the arrow to the right and kind of fast forward us in this game. But I'm going to hang tight, because this is for the viewer. This is for you guys. This isn't for me. Even though we are just watching patrolling units. Back and forth, ping pong, ping pong. That almost turned into like an urban poet. Oh, some World Cup soccer game is going on right now too. I hope you guys have been enjoying the World Cup. It's been pretty exciting. Can you believe the success of Russia continuing to win their matches? I think that's really cool. I think the momentum of a home advantage is huge, and that to be able to impress or represent your country as far as you have is just phenomenal. So I am loving seeing how good they're doing, and it's exciting. Okay, here comes a huge battle. Finally, we're going to see it last versus Mong here. And a lot of Wraiths versus these tanks. So look how many tanks that Mong has. Just tons of them. Oh my gosh. And is he going to be able to hold this position? It's almost as if those tanks can hit the air. But it's a Goliath. Did you see that? The Goliath was like snug inside that tank line. And it wasn't being seen by last. And it clears out all of the Wraiths. And there's so many tanks there. Oh my god. I almost think we need to rewind this. This was an amazing move. The dropship play from Mong, and he may actually be able to win this game because he has so many tanks here. Last is going to have to pull back. He's going to have to pull back some units and defend. Otherwise, he's going to end up losing his natural base. More dropships gearing up, gathering more units. What does Last decide to do? Does he counterattack inside the natural of Mong, or does he just continue to try and hold the position? The dropships need to get in here fast. Oh! And the trap is set up. 2 turrets hitting. The Valkyries hitting also these dropships. But Goliaths do manage to get out. So they get out. They hit the Valkyries. I think these Valkyries are going to die too. Yes, he does finally get the rest of the Valkyries. And now he can deal with the Wraiths too. That was a close situation. He's got a spare tank and maybe some Goliaths to go and kill off those turrets. So if he can kill off those turrets, then there can be a clear path for the dropships to re-support the units over outside the natural base of Last. Mong is playing a very clever game right now. He has to if he wants to win this. He knows that his position is not good. It's 4 bases to 3, and Last has access to more bases if he wants to expand to them. The Goliaths are there in a good position to defend against dropships now. With their range and vision on the high ground, they are going to kill anything, absolutely anything that tries to get out. So the supply network, the pipeline has been cut off. Oh, remember what I said earlier? Send the command SCV to build a command center down at the bottom right? It looks like Last is going to do that. That's the proper way to do it. This tank line has to be busted or else we're going to see GG. So right now it needs to happen. These SCVs are trying to soak up as much damage as possible, but I don't think the tanks moved in time to position themselves on an offensive threat and are still defensively taken. The Goliaths were in a good spot, though, to defend against those Wraiths, or else all the tanks would have been taken out and Mong would have surely lost. Thank God he's got the anti-air there still to be able to defend against this. Okay, so the tanks are unsieged. They're going to move out one more time. Once he takes away the vision, the long-range vision of that barracks, we're probably going to see scans as these tanks try to move. Well, there's a scan. That's a scan for Mong at least. But Last is going to have to scan back if he wants to be able to hit as effectively as possible. Or just use these long-range Wraiths. The Wraiths hitting the tanks on the ground. And is he going to do it? No way. No way. Mong, you crazy man, you. Are you seriously doing this? So he got his tanks out. He's cleared out the supply line. And there's more starports being built on the right side of the map, and I think that there's going to have to be a massive amount of rates that come out here if he wants to win this. A command center going to the mineral only. Oh, this is too good. What a gem. The Vultures coming in, trying to kill the SCVs off at the right side. Meanwhile, that command center... Is the command center out? I can't tell. It looks like it's finally been lifted. The command center has been lifted to deal with those tanks. Meanwhile, the command center on the right is being brought over to the proper position here, and a new mining base has been added in for last. So he's got the economy, but he's kind of losing these battles with the units, which is huge. Mong is playing such an efficient game right now. Well, up until those Ro8 came out there and started killing off all the tanks. More Goliaths are needed. He does bring one. It's amazing. One Goliath can really ward off 3 Ro8s. A 1-3 situation, and that one still way too strong. It's just the way it is sometimes in StarCraft. You got to play this chess game as smartly as possible. So that command center, again, it has been lifted. 1544 gas left, so that's significant. There still is gas remaining at that geyser, so it can be used when needed. Meanwhile, the unit's taken out again. It looks like he's going to be able to take the high ground. Mong, he's going to force last back. He's got a strong army. I wish you'd click on the mech so we could see the upgrade situation. Click on a unit, please. Click, 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 click. He's been clicked on that geyser for a long, long time. He clearly does not like clicking on units. Alright, no big deal. All these units heading towards the top right to try and take out the mining bases of last. I think that he's going to do it. We're at halftime now. We're at halftime, 2 quarters down. As you can see, we've hit the 22-minute mark, or just about to. And I think that last is losing this game. This is just phenomenal. Wow. He's taken the base over on the left side, so he does have that mineral only. And somehow, Mong has more supply than last, despite last being up to 4, technically 5 bases at one point. Jeez. This just shows sheer will here. This is sheer will. I can't believe what we are seeing before our eyes. This is usually what we see in Mong's TVP. This is why I say he's such a great late game player, because he has this mentality where he doesn't need to give up. Off 3 bases, Terran can win any situation. I am convinced of that. Doesn't matter how many bases your opponent has. It doesn't matter what race your opponent is. If you do things right off 3 bases with a maxed army, you can win. All right, so up on the high ground. Look at all these mines too. Oh, that's too funny. The SCV is trying to defuse the mines themselves. They're going to get taken out pretty quickly. The pro players on the right leaving their comments. Snow, in particular, has been going nuts this game. So he is just... is he chanting Mong's name? I think he is. My inability to read Hangul. It is what it is. Alright, so there's no mining bases. It looks like the command center wants to land, but that mineral patch needs to be taken out. There's still that bottom right hand base. Not a lot of SCVs there. It's not mining too much, but it looks like Last has pretty much rehomed himself over there. Oh, the dropship's going to try and take out the rest of the units. I think this base will hold on because of this dropship play here. Final tank is taken out. But remember, the army difference is still huge. Mong has quite a bit of units. And I think it's going to be a 2-1 lead with Mong. Somehow, some way. Wait, did that command center land? No. It can't. It can't land. Got to take out that resource first. Alright, and as we continue here, the Vulture's going to head down to the right. Mong finally sees it. Mong finally sees that there's this base here. He's wondering, how the hell are you getting all these resources? And he's going to rush in here and try and take out as many SCVs as possible. Is this going to be it? Is this going to be it with the economy in shambles? 108 supply now. Last is losing it all. Not much economy left for Mong. Maybe that's why Last wants to hold on here. It's all about the unit count right now. Mong has to be very efficient with his units until he takes an additional base. And Last is just going for another stretch with his army to try and win this. He's really feeling it. Last has been, he's like, I've just been slacking off for a while. I can do this. But Mong has a 31, potential 31 vultures at hand right now if he wanted to, because he has that massive bank of minerals. So he could be using that if he wanted to. The units are continuing to clear out the bottom right-hand position. But it looks like a nice fresh base of minerals has been taken at the 12 o'clock position. The right side still has a pretty good natural that can be taken. And we may just be transitioning into another late game TVT. Late game is after, once we get midway through the third quarter. Yep, there we go. Midway through the third quarter. We're entering the late stages. We're 26 minutes into the game here as we watch Last vs. Mong in a DanJJing Star League. I am your host, Bisudagger. Just as a reminder, shout out to all of you who are watching and listening. Thank you so much for persisting through this TVT. Probably this video will end up with 0 views because everybody will burn out from game number 2. But if you made it this far, please show me your love, leave a comment, and I hope you're enjoying this game as much as I am. The Koreans are. The Koreans are still enjoying this too, which is so important. We need to keep that fan base as happy as possible. There's so much red on the map. I don't know how Last is going to stay in this game. I just feel like Mong has had this for a little while now. But Terran can be resilient. A nice move up on top of the ramp to get his tanks inside that main base at the top right. And GG! We're going to see Last has lost the game. Mong wins it. He is up 2-1 in this best of 5. Can he close it out? He's got 1 game to go to get into the round of 4. Got to be pretty excited here. All right, guys. Hang tight. The next game will be coming up shortly. I am your host, Bisudagger. See you at game number 4.